To all brothers and sisters who are scattered in all corners of the earth, Shalom. Sanbonani, my name is Mpumelelo. Welcome to this channel. I would like to thank you for your continued support, especially all those who are subscribers to this channel. If you have been visiting this channel and you have not subscribed, please consider to subscribe. Similarly, if you are new to this channel, please consider to subscribe. Like this video, hit the notification bell, and share this video with your friends and family. Before I begin with the message of today, there's something I would like to address. And there's a growing perception amongst our brothers and sisters in the continent. And I'm saying in the continent, not only in the sub-Saharan region, the continent in general. And that perception is that South Africans are xenophobic. And I would like to make my tiny pint-sized contribution to this. South Africans are not xenophobic. We continue to be divided by our enemy, who make us lose focus on critical things that we need to deal with. And one of those critical issues is the issue I'm going to address today. Now, I'm not denying that there are issues of conflicts between South Africans and our brothers who come to South Africa. There are those incidences. But if you're going to generalize and say South Africans are xenophobic, you are actually saying all of us are xenophobic. And that is problematic. And that is a false statement. And I'm saying that we are being divided because the word xenophobic is foreign to us. It doesn't even exist in our vocabulary. In our Bantu languages, there's no word such as xenophobic. I have come to understand that the word xenophobic is a compound word which means hatred of foreigners. Xeno is foreigners or strangers. Phobia is fear or hatred. So you are implying that South Africans have a fear of foreigners or they hate foreigners. That is not true. We do have elements in our society who behave in a manner that is despicable. And we do have political parties that are driving some of these things. It is not true in the sense that there's at least 55 million Bantu here in South Africa in particular. 55 million. If I include those who are so-called colored, it's 55 million of us. Not even 1% of that 55 million is so-called xenophobic. But we have people who have genuine concerns about, I don't want to call our brothers foreigners, because they are not foreigners. Our borders were demarcated by foreigners, actual foreigners. They demarcated borders and they separated us. We are one family, we are brothers and sisters. But what has happened is that we have adopted legal structures from these foreigners, that is the West, and we are using those legal systems. As a result, anyone who crosses the border become an undocumented and a foreigner. Undocumented person and a foreigner. Now, there are problems with some of the people who come in undocumented. When they can't find jobs, they get involved in criminal activities, and they are untraceable. And this becomes a general crisis, because we have people who are involved in drug trafficking, you have people who are involved in human trafficking, you have people who are involved in bank robberies, house robberies, and they kill people and they can't be traced. And we have a lot of foreigners coming from Pakistan, Bangladesh, and India, who are found in in our townships. Townships are places which were demarcated for black people, were zoned for black people to live there. Those places are flooded with those foreigners, Somalis, in some instances Ethiopians, Pakistanis, in large numbers. And they have taken over what people call the spaza shops. Spaza shops are small shops that people run in the townships. So, and they come with fake goods, which makes people sick, and they kill people with those fake goods, because they sell them cheap and they sell them in large quantities. And so they kill the local businesses. And this is where the friction comes. When people rise against those people, it appears as if, and of course, when people rise against those people who are involved in such criminal activities, it appears as if South Africans hate criminals. I mean, yes, South Africans, have issues with people who are involved in criminal activities. Not that South Africans themselves are not involved in criminal activities, but the problem is these ones cannot be found. They are undocumented, and they do all sorts of things. So this is the general problem that we are facing. I'm sorry I have taken this much time trying to address this issue. That may or may not change the perception, but perhaps I will contribute to a percentage of people who think that way. By the way, a large number of South Africans are married to our brothers and sisters from our neighboring countries. In my family alone, we have a lot of people who are married to people in the neighboring states. We don't consider our brothers and sisters as foreigners. And as I said, there's no such word as xenophobia in our local languages. It is a foreign name that we're now using, xenophobia. We don't hate our brothers and sisters, but we hate crime, because people get killed in the process. Children get sick because they ate some noodles that were poisonous. So this is the kind of thing that we need to honestly address. I can go on with this issue. I think it's a topic on its own, but that is not the message for today. It will take me out of the topic. The topic for today is a little bit tied in with this one. And what is the topic for today? The last empire is falling. And the last empire will fall, and we will witness the rise of the kingdom of David, the Messiah. So that is the topic for today. The last empire. And who is this last empire? In the previous videos, I asked you a question. There's one person who answered it. I said, who is Gog and who is Magog? Because this is the person we are told in the final days, in the last days, he will rise and fight against the children of Israel, him and his allies. Who is this person? Let's try to break it down. The message of today is found in two scriptures. I can quote many other scriptures, but I want to focus on two scriptures. The first one is Genesis 25, verse 21 to 26. And the second scripture is Daniel 7. Now, Genesis 25, I'm going to paraphrase. Please go ahead and read it thoroughly. And read from Genesis 1 up to where this chapter ends. But I want to focus on 21 to 26. In this scripture, we find that our matriarch, Rivka or Rebecca, is pregnant after struggling for something like 20 years of not conceiving. And her husband entreated our Almighty. He prayed for over 20 years. Some of us pray for 6 months for a job and we quit and we say our prayers are not answered. He was praying for 20 years for his wife to be pregnant. And she finally got pregnant. And when she was pregnant, she had trouble in her womb. There was a lot of commotion. And she prayed to the Almighty, and the Almighty answered her. And this is the message. The Almighty said to her, "There are 2 nations in your womb, and there are 2 people who will be separated from your body. One people will be stronger than the other. The elder shall serve the younger." Now you need to understand this message very carefully. 2 nations. Now, if it is 2 nations, it means these are 2 different people. But these 2 different people, if they are 2 nations, probably they have 2 different DNAs. Only the Heavenly Father can do that. Twins with 2 different DNAs, and there are 2 nations. 2 people shall be separated from your womb. It means they will not live together. They will be separated. 1 people, and it says 2 peoples. Now, 2 peoples, it means it's different peoples. The word people itself is plural without adding an S. But if you say peoples, it means these are 2 different people. It's like when you say fish. Fish, there's fish in the sea, was fish in the river. But as soon as you say there are fishes in the sea, it means there are dolphins, there are sharks, and all other small fish and all other different, who goes by different names, fishes. So if there are peoples, it means we have different people. 2 peoples shall be separated from your body. 1 people shall be stronger than the other, and the elder shall serve the younger. Now what does this mean? We know that after the children were born, or when they were born, the first one was named Esau. He was ruddy. He was hairy. Hence the name Esau, which means hairy. But in appearance, he was ruddy, red. And the other one, we are not told what his complexion was. So if we are not told what his complexion was, it means he was dark in complexion. This is Yaakov, our father. The other one was ruddy, red. A friend of mine, a brother, made a remark that if you have noticed, Caucasians, their children are red when they are born. And the skin lightens up as they grow up. And this is a remarkable observation. Here you have 2 nations that are growing apart, and they've indeed, you know the story of Yaakov and Esau. After the blessing that was given by their father, they grew apart increasingly, and they became enemies. We did not become the enemy of Esau, but he grudgingly, or in his entire life, he had grudges because of that blessing which was given to Yaakov. You can say what you want to say, how he got that blessing. It doesn't change anything. He remained bitter his entire life, and his descendants remained bitter. Who are his descendants today? Well, let us look at what Daniel is saying. Daniel, in the Hebrew scriptures, interestingly, is not considered as a prophet. Pardon me. Daniel is not considered a prophet because there is no direct vision that he gets from the Almighty, or the Almighty does not speak to him directly. You don't hear him say, "Thus says the Almighty," but he has visions. And when he has visions, in this occasion, in Daniel 7, his vision is interpreted by an angel. So he has no direct communication with the Almighty. He has these visions. The first one, he was translating a vision. He was translating a dream for Nebuchadnezzar. In the second one, he was also translating writings on the wall by the second king, which were seen by the second king, Belshazzar. And this, it was a dream that he had. And in this dream, he saw 4 beasts. These 4 beasts, I will run through them quickly. The first beast is known as Babylon. The second beast is known as Persia. The third beast as Greece. The fourth beast as Rome. Now, all these beasts, interestingly, had something to do with Israel, all of them. The first one, Babylon, took Israel into captivity. The second one was tied in with the first one. And the second one, actually, the third king, which was Cyrus, was the fourth king, which was Cyrus. Cyrus had something to do with this prophecy because Cyrus was used by the Almighty as well to restore the children of Israel back into Israel, and he even gave them resources to build the temple. And then another empire emerged, which Daniel saw as a beast. That was Greece. Greece as well took over almost the entire world, including Judea. That is why you had a lot of people speaking Greek in that time. People in Egypt were subjected to the rule of Alexander the Great, and all peoples of the world were subjected to the rule of Alexander the Great. The fourth kingdom, which is Rome, and this one was different from the other kingdoms. In his vision, Daniel saw this beast which had 10 horns, and a small horn emerging amongst these 10, and 3 horns were destroyed in the process. These 10 horns are the 10 kingdoms of Rome. The most 10 prominent kingdoms. There were many empires in Rome, but there were these particular 10 empires. If we had time, I would go through each and every one of them. But what is interesting, what emerged, all these empires, they fell. And there's this last empire that is still in governance up to today. Which empire is that? Some people say it's still Rome in the form of Christianity. It is partly true, because Christianity emerged from Rome. It is this empire. It emerged from Rome, and what did Christianity do? It sought to reverse all the things that are in what they called the Old Testament. It sought to nullify the word of the Almighty. Read this prophecy. Read what this empire sought to do. This empire sought to nullify the times. It changed the times. It changed the times of worship. It was no longer the Sabbath. It was moved to Sunday. If you look at all the pictures of Yeshua, whom this empire raised as a deity, the pictures of Yeshua are depicted with a ring at the back and sun rays coming from him. This is the God, the sun God, the God which was worshipped by the Romans and is depicted in the form of Yeshua. And those who worship Christianity, they need to be very careful about whom they are worshiping, because the pagans have raised this deity and they've made him a god. And Christianity has spread throughout the world. And this is the empire that is ruling today. But it is not only, because this, according to the prophecy in Genesis 25, it is people. It is Esau in the form of many organs, systems that will be ruling the world. And this is the last empire that is existing. You have Christianity that is very powerful, that has changed the belief systems of the world, but you have white supremacy. White supremacy has emerged very strongly, and it has been ruling throughout the generations. It has subjugated many nations, but in particular, the children of Israel. One people shall be stronger than the other people, but the last word from the Almighty is that the elder shall rule the younger. No, the elder shall be ruled by the younger. Rather, the elder shall serve the younger. So what is going to happen? This empire is falling, this last empire, which comes in the form of Christianity and white supremacy. Interestingly, those who translate this are often children of Esau, Caucasians, and they don't want to mention that there's white supremacy involved in this, because they don't want to talk about themselves. And they don't want to talk about Christianity. So it is it is not clear who this last empire is. But very clearly what has emerged over a period of time is that it is Christianity and it is white supremacy, because it is white supremacy that is ruling the world today. The West, United States of America, the British and Europe, in the form of this constitutional democracy that they are forcing on people to implement, in particular in the sub-Saharan region. And our brothers and sisters elsewhere in the world are subjected to this democracy. We are forced to work and do things according to the West. But it is falling apart. Christianity is falling apart. You can see many of these mega churches they are devouring themselves. They are scandalous. There are many scandals in these churches. Look at what is happening in the Vatican. There are scandals in the Vatican. The priests and the Pope, they are forever covering horrible things that are happening in the church. Before you know it, I had the privilege of traveling the world. There are these mega cathedrals that have been built in Germany, in Paris, in Switzerland. There's no one in it. No one goes to those churches anymore. They're gone. People are not going to those churches. The same thing will happen to these mega churches that have been created by the evangelists. Very soon people will realize that there's no true message that comes out of these churches. The message is fake. The message does not work. If people did not realize during coronavirus, when people were saying they can heal people and they couldn't heal them, they should have realized then that there's no such thing as people having powers to heal. There was AIDS, and there's still AIDS, HIV and AIDS, and people are still dying from these things. Those who claim they can heal, they are lying. And these churches are being destroyed. We had a very powerful church in Nigeria, which was led by T.B. Joshua. First, the church was destroyed. The residential area which he created to house people who come to the church, it was destroyed. It fell, destroyed to the ground. There are many churches who are catching fires. These are supposed to be houses of worship, which we know that when the temple is destroyed, it means the Spirit of the Almighty is no longer there. So when the church catches fire and it burns to the ground, and when priests are involved in perversions, we know that the Spirit of the Almighty is no longer there. It's going down. But I have in the past videos demonstrated that slowly we see countries challenging the first world countries. We see South Africa standing up against Israel. As we speak, we are told that South Africa is preparing to drag the United States and Britain for being complicit in their support to Israel. So, things are changing. This empire is falling, and we will see the rise of the kingdom of David, Messiah. So we will have to talk about who is David, Messiah. Who is this Messiah? Because some of us who are Christians believe that this Messiah is going to be Yeshua, who will come from the clouds, and we will talk about that. Tell me what you think. I have not even explained who Gog is. Perhaps in the next video we can talk about that. But tell me what you think. I'd like to hear your views. Thank you very much for your attention. I hope that you have listened to the entire video until the end. Otherwise, you'll lose the message. Thank you very much for your attention. Ngiyabonga. Asante sana.